Hello, my name is Sarah Cho, and this is the last video of my analysis of Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. So I'll be starting on chapters 20 to 22. And so in these chapters, this is basically when the narrator is figuring out that the Brotherhood is, they have a plan to exclude the narrator out of the Brotherhood. And the narrator gets very upset at this. And the narrator later finds one of his friends, one of the leaders, Clifton, selling a Shambo doll, which angers the narrator because a Shambo doll is it shows it's kind of a representation of African American and saying that they're lazy and just these bad connotations to it. And so the narrator is very upset. And so in this scene, it's actually not the one on the screen, sorry. When the narrator is conflicting Clifton about it, it's a sense of betrayal because the narrator is being kind of betrayed by Clifton because he is kind of two-sided, saying that he is wanting equality, however he is selling these dolls, which doesn't make sense. Also, there's betrayal between the narrator and the Brotherhood because the Brotherhood is trying to kick the narrator out, and even though he's put like most of his trust into the Brotherhood, and so later on, Clifton dies because he is in conflict with an officer, and he later dies. And so the narrator finds that it's his job to set up a funeral for Clifton, and so that angers the Brotherhood because the Brotherhood thinks that Clifton was a traitor, and so if the narrator was throwing a funeral for Clifton, that just did not rub well with the Brotherhood, and so the Brotherhood was very furious about that. Okay, later on, the narrator does find out that he's kind of being pushed away from the group, from the Brotherhood. So, as you can see on the screen, the narrator is on the right, and the Brotherhood is represented with the white characters in the screen. And so this is when just conflict arises with the narrator and also the Brotherhood. As seen on the next screen, next screen. This will be covering chapters 23 to 25. So in chapter 23, the narrator is trying to investigate what the Brotherhood is planning. And so he creates a relationship with one of the leader's mistresses. In this scene, or in this event, the theme of manipulation is used in order to gain secrets from what the Brotherhood is planning. And so the narrator manipulates one of the leader's mistress to try to gain insight on what secrets are going on in the Brotherhood. This, however, fails because the mistress doesn't know anything about the Brotherhood's secrets. So that backfires on the narrator. And in 24, there is violence that erupts in Harlem. And the Brotherhood group is suspicious of these acts. So then later on in chapter 25, there's just a lot of riots in Harlem, There are riots, there's protests, and there's just a lot of things happening in Harlem right now. And so the narrator gets a call, and he goes down to Harlem in the neighborhood, and he sees that there are riots going on everywhere. And then he later joins in on it pretty much, and he sets fire to one of the buildings, and he runs from the scene of the crime, and he encounters one of his friends, Ross, and Ross is dressed in an African chief garment, and so this pretty much enrages the narrator, because the narrator knows that Ross is kind of setting him up, because after the narrator runs after Ross, they meet. They see two officers, and then the officers then chase the narrator, and the narrator falls into a manhole or hole. And then the officers, who are white, then mock, and they mock the narrator, and later covers the hole so that the narrator cannot come out. And so that leads to the very end, the epilogue. The epilogue, which the narrator says that he has stayed underground ever since the event. The end of the story is also the beginning. In the prologue, he states that the narrator has finally realized that he must honor his individual complexity and remains true to his own identity without sacrificing his responsibility to the community. He says that he finally feels ready to emerge from underground. And so throughout all of these events, these themes has really shaped the narrator's mindset and how his character develops within the story. And so the theme of betrayal is themed throughout the story and is a major theme. However, in my opinion, the theme of white superiority and colorblindness trump all, because he is most affected by these two themes, because they shape and they push his life in a direction where it can be very unexpected, and that could throw him off, and in a sense put him to change his character. So yeah, I really enjoyed reading Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, and I hope you enjoy my analysis. Thank you.